In this video, we will discuss how to create a job bucket. To access the Job Bucket wizard, click on the Create Job Bucket option on the Planning tab. The Job Bucket wizard will open. We have made the creation of a job bucket a very simple process. Simply follow the steps on the individual tabs and you will be prompted when to advance to the next step or complete your job bucket. The iReliability database and Job Bucket Wizard are very robust tools, and a variety of different job types are available for creation. No matter what type of job you create, the process in the wizard is the same. Let's create an example job and briefly explain each step in the wizard. First, give your job a name that best describes the task you will be completing. Next, select what type of job it is from the drop-down menu that you are creating. In step 2, select the subtype. In the example, we selected PDM as the job type. Now we must define what type of PDM job it is we are creating. Keep in mind, you are defining very specifically what type of job you are creating. In step 3, we choose the job method. As you can see, we are defining the job down to its specific purpose and what tools or techniques will be deployed to carry out the job. As an example, for this job subtype, vibration, there could be several methods such as ODS, spike energy, etc. In this case, we'll choose the generic method, vibration. In step 4, we choose the activity. For this example, we can choose the activity as analysis only, data collection only, or data collection and analysis. The activity accommodates situations where one person collects data while another person does the analysis. It also accommodates the situation where the same person does the collection and analysis. We have the ability to create a job down to the specific activity being executed. Choose the appropriate activity from the drop-down list. When you have finished naming your job and have completed the 4 steps on the Setup tab, click the Add to Current Jobs List button. The setup of the job is now completed. You can set up another job for this bucket if you desire. For instance, if you're creating a job to collect vibration data and another job to conduct the analysis of that data, you can set up both jobs in a single bucket here. When you have finished setting up the job or jobs, click on the Timing tab. Step 1 on the Timing tab will ask you to determine the frequency of the job. In other words, how often will this job be done? Here you can choose no frequency, which is useful for one-off inspections. You can specify the frequency in days, such as every 30 days. Or you can choose to specify the frequency by calendar, such as a specific day of the month, every 2 months, every 6 months, etc. We'll choose the first day every month for this example. In step 2, we specify the date that we want the job to start. Step 3 requires that we specify the time of the day we want the job to start. When selecting a time, you are determining when you want the job to become ready for activity on the Activities tab of the home screen. Simply key in the time you want the job to start. In step 4, we determine the duration of the job. In other words, how long should it take to complete this job? Click on the Set Duration link in step 4 and you can choose the duration of your choosing. The job duration can be specified in hours or days. Select the duration type and set the duration amount and click on the Update Duration button. The steps on the Timing tab are now complete. Next, click on the Locations tab. In the Locations tab, we select which locations we wish to add to our job. You can add any location in the hierarchy to a job. First, you select the area of the hierarchy you wish to choose a location from. Note: if you have multiple areas you wish to choose locations from, you can select multiple areas in this step. After you have selected the area, click on the Next button. When selecting areas to choose locations from, there is another option that needs to be explained. When selecting an area, all of the children locations of that area will be returned in a grid so you can select which locations you wish to include in your job. You have the ability to not return the children locations of a selected area if you choose. As an example, you may want to create a job for a system and therefore have no need to see the children of that level when making your final selection. Although it may be rare that you use this option, it is available if you desire to use it. Click on the Next button when you have made your selections. All of the locations in the area or areas you selected will be displayed in a grid. The locations will be grouped by location type. You can expand the groupings by clicking on the plus sign next to the group name. After expanding a group, you can further sort the group by clicking on the header on the column you wish to sort by and then drag it into the space above the header. To choose locations, click the selection boxes next to the locations you wish to add to the job. Clicking the selection box in the header row will select all locations in an expanded group. Once you have completed your selections, click on the Add Selected Nodes button. This will add the locations to your job. You will see a list of the locations that you have added to your job. You will be prompted that you can continue to the Assign tab in the wizard or continue to select additional locations if you desire. In the Assign step of the wizard, you may be required to choose locations for different jobs if you created multiple jobs in the Setup tab of the wizard. In the example job we have created for this video, you have no requirement. You are prompted to move to the Resources tab in the wizard. On the Resource tab, you will be required to assign a resource to your job. In other words, who will be responsible for completing this job when it is scheduled. Simply click on the Assign Resource link and choose the resource group and user who will complete this job. Select the resource group that is responsible for carrying out this type of work. The resource group will list all users who are task qualified to perform the job. Next, select the user who will be responsible for completing the job after it is scheduled. When you have finished making the appropriate selections, click on the Update button. Finally, click on the Finish tab to finalize your job bucket creation. On the Finish tab, you will be able to review all categories of the job you created in the wizard. You can go back and edit any of these categories by clicking on the Edit links. If the job you have created is acceptable, click on the Finalize and Submit button, and your new job will be added to the database. Your new job has now been added to the database and will appear on the Future section of the Work Execution tab. When the start date and time that you specified for the job arrives, your job will be available for you to open and complete on the Ready for Activity section of the Work Execution tab.